Nestor, when you originally got the diagnosis of the strain, did you think that you would be here, honestly?
No, to be honest, no. Given that it was so late in the season, obviously with the left flexor strain, those are tough to come back, but we never gave up on it. I feel like, conversations with the doctor and the training staff, they told me we were going to be no throw until I was asymptomatic, and after that we will just address it as good and possible as we can. And once I felt no pain, we started the build up to see if it was possible to be back at any time during the playoffs. Do you feel yourself prior to the injury, like right now? Yeah, I only took 10 days off of no throw, so I feel like I didn't lose a lot. And with 3 lives, I was 88, 91, dropped down a few times, and I thought they were pretty competitive at bats. And obviously with the magnitude of these games and how prepared I am, I think I'm going to be fine.
For your left, Meredith.
Nestor, you mentioned those lives and dropping down, trying to do some different things. Just what was it specifically that told you you would be good to go, knowing the magnitude of the situation of the World Series?
Honestly, I think for me it was the velo. I thought, if I was 82, 83 coming into those lives, I knew I was going to be ready, no matter how big these games are, the intensity and the adrenaline running. But the fact that I was 88, 90, 91, that's almost up to where I pitch at. Obviously with, like I said, the intensity here and how big these games are and what they mean. 92 and 93 aren't far reach, and that's where I pitch at. So I think that's kind of what gave me the go.
How do you expect to be used, and how much can you give them?
We spoke about it. I think the obvious here is I'm coming out of the bullpen, and lefty-lefty matchups are going to be the best, I guess, runways for me. I think 1 inning is what we're looking for. It might be 2 ups where I faced somebody in with 2 outs, get that out, and maybe come back for another hitter or 2. But I'm ready for whatever's needed. I think once I'm out there and once I throw my first pitch, everything all the jitters will go away, and the excitement will just kick in, and what I've done and prepared for my whole life and this season will take over.
A bit further to your left, Ron.
How did Booney and Matt break the news to you?
About being on the roster? So yesterday I went out to throw and felt good. And I stepped into Skip's office, and he was asking me how I felt, and it was just to go from there. I thought they were eager for me to have me, and I was excited to be on this roster. I told him since the beginning that, I just don't want to be on this roster just because it's the World Series. I want to be able to contribute and make sure that when I'm out there, I'm giving my best and, close to as 100% as possible. And, I'm just excited about the opportunity. And, Booney has seen me grow up in this organization since 2019. And I think he's very excited for me to be in this situation with him. And, we hugged it out, and that was it.
Who were the first family people you called and told?
My parents and my wife. They're here in LA with me. As soon as I got back to the hotel, broke them the news, and obviously they were happy. Regardless of I guess, my decision, they're supportive of what this means to me, and what this means as to a competitor and a baseball player. I think as little kids, everybody wants to be in this scenario, and I had the opportunity to do it, and I'm here.
Go to John in the second row.
Obviously, Rizzo's playing with a couple broken fingers. You're coming back from this, and the Dodgers have their own stuff. But how much did you notice just the connectivity, the connection with all the teammates? Everyone noticing what you guys were pushing through, what you guys were working to get through as you were doing the work you had to do to get on this roster.
Yeah, what happened to Rizzo was unfortunate, getting hit by that pitch. And I was actually inside when he went to go get the x-ray, and how teared up he was, because you never know when it's your last game, or you never know when you're going to put this uniform on. And he knew that we were about to get into the playoffs. So just watching that from him and knowing how much he cared and how much he wanted to be out there with the guys, put into perspective of I'm relatively young for this game. Like, I'm 29 years old, and I feel like I still have a lot of more years to give. But you never know when you're going to be in this situation or this spot with this opportunity. And, watching the guys in the DS and the CS battle every day, every inning, every out, pushed me a little more to kind of be ready for this situation. I knew in the CS we had a, we met up in Boone's office, and we talked about the possibility of maybe coming in for Hamilton, but obviously they took care of my health first, and as Cash said, we were cutting a lot of corners already. The only way this would happen if we made it to the World Series, and like I said, we're here. I mean, the guys have been great. They've pushed really hard throughout the whole year, and especially in these last two rounds. And I'm just happy to give what I got for them in this round, and hopefully we can take it all the way.
Fourth row on your far left, Nestor. Mark?
And Nestor, you mentioned the lefties that they've got. Just what do you think about the possibility of coming in a World Series game to get Ohtani or Freeman or those guys out?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a tough task. Obviously, we're talking about one of the best hitters in baseball, in that lineup. But I think it's not uncharted territory for me to face lefties and get them out. I think throughout my whole career, I've done that pretty well. This is just another game for us. Knowing what's at stake, knowing how magnified these innings and these pitches are going to be, but I feel like we've all prepared for this moment, and it's going to be a moment that we're all going to cherish, and we're just going to go out there and give it our best.
Other questions for Nestor? On the fourth row, yes.
Was Fernando Valenzuela somebody that you were aware of growing up? Were your parents fans or anything like that? Just what do you know about him?
I don't know much, unfortunately. I knew he was a left-handed pitcher, and he was really great for this organization here in LA. Me being in the East Coast, we didn't really watch a lot of Dodger baseball. But I know the impact he's made for the game, and just how personable he looked in the TV. And if I were able to say something about me and him, kind of, we look like two regular people that walk around the street, but are Major League Baseball players. Obviously, I can't even begin to compare myself to him with all the accolades and all the stuff he did for this organization. But I know he's missed around the baseball community and missed around the world. So I'm sorry to hear what happened to him, and that's all I can say.
Have you ever fooled around with a screwball, maybe, and just why do you think that is a pitch that has kind of disappeared?
I've screwed around with a lot of pitches. I've tried to mess with a lot of different grips and different things that I can possibly do, but no, the screwball's not in my arsenal, unfortunately.
Fourth row on your right, Nestor.
Hi, hello. When you faced Shohei, so are you planning to do the weekly delivery against him?
Yeah, I'm planning to do everything I have and everything I got. As people know and seen, I've done different, timing stuff. I've dropped down on him. Like I said, he's a really good hitter. It's going to take all of my efforts and all of my ability to get him out. And when I do face him, and when I face him, I'm gonna try and strike him out every single time.
Good. Meredith up front.
Hey, Nestor, you've watched a lot of Garrett Cole starts. What tells you that he's locked in and has his best stuff, and how would you describe him on a start day?
Yeah, it's funny you say, because every time I see him in a room by himself, looking at a computer and writing down notes, I know he's locked in. Other friends of mine and people that I know ask me about, hey, how's Garrett like? And I mean, what he does and the way that he prepares makes him who he is. Obviously, he's got the talents. He throws 100. He has 4 or 5 pitch arsenal, which he commands and does real well. But I mean, he's just a different animal when it comes to big games and the way he goes about his business. He studies the game. He studies at bats. He studies swings. He knows percentages. When he's out there, he's just not competing. He knows what kind of percentage he has on throwing this pitch and making you out on this pitch. And if you slug this ball or if you don't slug this pitch, it's impressive to see. Honestly, it's hard to describe in 2 minutes what he does, but since I've been here since 2021, that I've been teammates with him. What I've said the most about him is that I respect him so much because no matter the amount of dollars that he's making, he wants to win every single game, and he wants to make everybody around him as good or better than him, and that's what I respect about him the most.